So we're live. Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Tales by Lucy. And this time, as my third guest, I have Phil. I call him Phil from the future. But on Instagram, he is the one true nerd king. So, welcome.
Hey, Lucy, how's it going?
Hi. Hi. Thank
Comic.
you so much.
Me.
Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you
Um,
for having me. Super excited. I
yeah,
haven't gotten to do this with you, and
I
I'm really
know.
excited to do this. Awesome.
Yeah, this is so awesome. So, oh my God, this is so cool. I can't wait to hear your stories. Um, and I want to say before we keep going, I want to let people know that. Um, hold on, is that me? That sound? Oh, okay. Sorry, it is me.
No worries.
Um, uh, that you've been helping me with the graphics of like posting the first things that I post on Instagram and on YouTube. Um, thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. We're
I love
family.
it. You're awesome.
It's all good. We for those uninitiated, we've been comic book friends for a little while now. Not
Yes.
like years, but for a while, and we've got some great mutual friends. And when these opportunities come up, we all
Yeah.
help each other out. That's what happens. So
Yeah. Yeah.
family.
That is true. It is a big uh, community, and you become family.
Just
Okay,
happy to
so
help.
let's get this thing rolling. So my first question is, when was your first experience with ghosts or something, the paranormal activities or things like that? When was your first one?
So when I was about 4, my grandmother passed away, and we
Oh,
lived in this old house, and she used to take care of me every day, and we lived just a few houses down from where she used to live. And my mom said it was right after that she passed away that I suddenly started to get this imaginary friend. And my imaginary friend was,
mhm.
he didn't have a name, but he was a gorilla, because that's the only way I could describe him to my mom. He was my friend,
Yeah.
it's my gorilla.
Yeah.
And he would hang out with me and he'd go places with me. And it would always just be in the house. And I remember it was about, it was according to my parents, it was probably about a few weeks later that I started to say that he was getting mean. He was starting to be
Mm.
mean to me, and he would like to wake me up at night, and he would get me out of bed, or he would try and scare me, or take things from me,
Yeah.
especially at night. And I started seeing things in my room. I slept in a refurbished attic, and my
Hmm.
parents used to find me out in the hallway hiding under furniture every single night.
Oh my God.
Yeah, because I was so afraid to sleep in my room. And I would remember waking up and seeing something and not being able to move,
Mhm.
just feeling scared. And I remember screaming and the bed shaking.
Yeah.
And my parents came in and they got me out of the room. And my mom started then getting bothered in the basement. She would feel like there was somebody down there with her, and I would just things would keep getting worse. My sister started having night terrors, and finally one night my mom was just like, "That's it, we're done. We are out of this house. We are moving out."
Yeah.
And we moved to a new home, and things got a lot better from there. But I remember ever since a very young age, I do remember being in my bed. I remember screaming. I remember the bed shaking and I couldn't move. I remember my parents trying to grab me, and they kept on saying, like, let go of the bed, because they couldn't make me move. And
So because you wouldn't let go because something was holding you down.
I think something was holding me down. I mean, I was 4. I'm
Yeah.
41 now, so it's been a
Yeah.
minute. It's been a minute.
Yeah.
But the things I remember about, I do remember, and still to this day, I don't like being in the dark. I have serious issues with that. I still sleep under the covers. I learned at a young age I basically replaced my pillows
Mhm.
where my body was supposed to be sleeping, and I would sleep under another set of pillows along the top edge because I would think that whoever this thing was wouldn't look under the pillows. He would look under the covers for
Mhm.
me. But I still remember the feeling of a pillow moving off of me,
Yeah.
and I wasn't moving that pillow. And
Oh.
that's that was those were my experiences as a child.
Yeah.
I had another couple of experiences that kind of feel a bit more comical in retrospect,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that was my experience. Sorry.
Okay. So it's okay. Oh my God, that is so crazy. And I have Gomez here asking, did the spirit follow you as you moved? And I was gonna ask you too. Like, I feel like it kind of like followed you as you. It's still like hanging
I
out to
I
you.
never had the same feelings after we left that house,
Hmm.
but there had been a number of families that moved into, and one family had a death occur there afterwards,
Hmm.
and another
On
one,
that same
another
house?
two. Yes,
Oh
yes,
wow.
yes. I think it stayed to the house. I mean, I've had other experiences like as getting older and things that I realize, because I've always had kind of feelings, I guess, ever since that. Sorry, I get a
No,
little
it's
I get a
okay.
little nervous when I talk about it, but I
Yeah.
didn't feel like it followed me. I don't feel like that. I felt like it was a presence in the house that I never connected with until my grandmother passed away. I guess I was looking for, some kind of, 'cause I mean, she was one that took care of me every day, right? Because
Yeah.
I was before preschool age and things of that nature. And my mom and my dad worked, and but once I couldn't sleep in those rooms anymore, and my sister started having night terrors where she would just wake up screaming, and my parents would not be able to get her to snap out of it.
Wow.
Um, my mom felt like the house was haunted. I've obviously had experiences with it that I do still remember,
Yeah.
but no, it did not follow me. It did not. But I do believe the house had some kind of entity, and I don't think it was a ghost. I think it was more along the lines of a demonic,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
That's kind of, yeah, I kind of
Poltergeist,
get that.
maybe.
Yeah. Wow, that is kind of
Sorry.
deep. That is some heavy stuff right there, because that is so scary. So then you said now as you got older, like it wasn't as
No, I've had experiences at places before because I've always felt kind of open to
Mhm.
things, I guess. I don't know, at,
Yeah.
at, at that age when the things that occurred did. I went to a predominantly Lutheran school system. We would have, comparative religion classes, and there was a great time of each one year that we spent talking about these kinds of things. And
Mhm.
my professor was a reverend as well, and he got into a lot of details. And it was then after that point where I kind of felt like, this isn't, I'm not crazy. He validated a
Yeah.
lot of the things I felt. And I started to kind of just treat things a little bit more open-mindedly.
Mhm.
And there used to be a rumor in our neighborhood from the place that we did move to,
Mhm.
there was the rumor of this burnt down house, and there was the
Yeah.
urban legend that a guy found out his wife had been cheating on him, and
Mhm.
he murdered her, and he was trying to burn down the house for the proof, but forgot that the baby was upstairs. And when he went upstairs to get the baby, he got caught in the fire, and urban legend stuff,
Yeah.
silly things. But there was nothing that ever happened to that house in the shell of a basement out in the middle of these cornfields in the middle of Indiana, right? For decades. and all you would see is just these pentagrams spray painted on the walls and the overgrown brush and stuff. And so
Mhm.
as kids, it was an easy story to perpetuate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when Halloween came around, I was dating, and I thought, like, well, it's the scary time of year. And I'll tell her the story, and I'll tell her the story of the urban legend, and
Mhm.
I'll tell her about the if you go out on Halloween, sometimes you can hear the baby crying. It's one of those, it was
It's
an
so
urban
great.
legend thing, right? So we go out there, and no lie, we heard something, but honestly, I mean, it could have been an animal, because it's cornfields,
Yeah.
it's Indiana, you hear sheep. I mean, anybody's had a young baby knows that any kind of bleeding animal can kind of make a little bit of a childlike noise.
Yeah.
But so we start to go out there, and we're walking through the cornfields, and now it's October, and all the corn's flat is cut, so you just got the little stalks everywhere, so you're kind of trekking
Yeah.
through there. And I've got her with me, and we're walking out there, and we've got our flashlights. And as soon as we hit the property line, flashlight turns off. Now this is midnight.
Oh
And I'm
my
just thinking to
God.
myself, like, it just turns right off. I'm like, shake, do the classic shake thing, like it's not working.
Like if it's gonna work.
And she's looking at me like, you piece of crap. This is a date. Don't do this crap. Like like you're not pulling this crap
Yeah.
on me. This isn't gonna happen. Turn back on the flashlight. I hand it to her. She can't turn the flashlight on either. And then we see these, like, it looks like almost two, like, red eyes, and you just hear this kind of a growl. And I'm not gonna lie, I turned around. No, I didn't leave her. She was a cross-country track state
Oh, she loves
champion.
you.
This girl can float, right? And I'm an asthmatic band geek, okay? So
Yeah.
this isn't like, look at Phil run. No, 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 no. But I turned around like, we're getting out of here. So we both turned, because we both
Oh
saw it.
my
We both
God.
turned around, we run. But I live around the cornfields, so maybe I was just ready for it. But you got to kind of high step. She didn't do that, and she fell. And in my moment, as soon as I saw her kind of behind me fall, and I hear that noise, I think to myself, all right, if I turn around and help her, the second I bend down, I'm going to look up. The thing's going to be looking at me and like cut my head off. So I'm like, I can't stop. I should not stop and help her up. I did anyways. I did turn around, get up and help her, and help her up. But as soon as we got out of the cornfield and we make it back to the street and the additions that were around,
Yeah.
she looked at my back pocket, and the flashlight was on, because I had put it in my back pocket, and the flashlight was just on, shooting straight up in the air.
Oh my gosh.
And those were, I've and I've been to haunted places, and I've had different kinds of feelings and stuff, but those are like my personal experiences, like just me, myself, not going with like a ghost hunting group or trying any of those kinds of things,
We're not
or
going
tours around New Orleans, nothing like that. This was just that time. That honestly, that felt like something that I had perfectly planned in my head to just give her a little bit of a scare, kind of like a joke thing. But I expected to have the flashlight working, show her something creepy, and leave, not get the crap scared out of me, because that's emasculating as hell. I don't feel secure in my manhood after seeing me turn around and run like a girl right out of a cornfield. There was nothing about that whatsoever that felt like, I like this guy. There wasn't any of that happening. So that was totally unplanned. But those are two of my biggest stories, my most personal experiences. With the paranormal, in my opinion.
Yeah, like because I have lived here in the United States and in Guadalajara, Mexico. That's where we're from Guadalajara. And when we lived out there, there's this place that we lived, and the same with the stories, the lady in white, and the same. I mean, I feel like there's a lady in white everywhere. And this place where we lived, it was like very like I mean, my mom, she was a single mom, and I always talk about this place because even though it was like a piece of crap, like this place was horrible to live in. Like I feel like if that was here in the United States, it will be closed like a long time ago because it was not for families to live in because it used to be a hotel, and
Mhm.
next door there was a hotel, but this one was like and it was like um like studios kind of because it was bigger than the room, but it was like a little, and there was like a bunch of them. There's a 3-story. Yeah, it was, oh, the four. No, it was three. And but it was ugly. And I have trying to look for pictures of that place and I cannot find it. Now it's closed. They did close that place down because like I said, it was
In
not.
disrepair and yeah.
Yeah, yes. The doors were like the wood doors, and to lock it, you have to put a chain and put a lock so you can lock
Oh,
your doors. That's how bad it was. And like everybody knows everybody, and but then at night it's completely dark. Even though it's in the city, like
mhm.
that place was completely dark. And in the middle of the night, you will hear things like in the hallways and stuff like that. It was, um, and they
Uh,
used to say that in that place they lived in a lady, uh, lady of the night, and she was killed there, and she
oh,
was dressed in white. And I know my mom and other people had like some experiences as kids. Last week I talked about that, and it wasn't living in that place. I saw oh my god, a gnome, kind of like a gnome, looked
uh-huh.
like a gnome type of thing. It was a little thing, and moving my dolls, and my dolls were moving, and that freaked me out. And after that, I did not want to have dolls ever again. And little things like that will happen. Nobody wanted to, even though there's a bunch of people living there, nobody liked to be in one of the rooms by themselves.
Mhm.
Um, it was so creepy. But like, personally never saw like nothing like that except that ugly little gnome thing. That's the only thing I ever saw there. And then after that, we moved and we came back to the United States. We were there not even a year, or probably a year. It was 2000. I remember 2000 because that's when everybody was going crazy about, the,
2K
like,
and
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And after that, like nothing happened. So we came out here. But yeah, I remember that place. They used to have stories like that, and with the lady in white and stuff like that. And a lot of people were killed in that place when there used to be a hotel, or they committed suicide, things like that. So it was haunted for sure. But the kids, it never really happened to anything. It was usually the adults when they will get messed with. But yeah,
My when I got married, my wife would hate to take me to a hotel because I would never be able to sleep because very often I would hear things, I would see things, I would have um, different experiences, and that's another reason though too. It's like a something that I only do is I only live in brand new homes. I don't live in a place that's ever had a resident before me. If it
yeah,
has one after me, that's fine. It's totally fine. But
yeah.
that's the only way that I've ever been able to find any kind of solace.
Do you
Every
think
house that I've lived in, I've
Do you
felt
think
something.
that you were able to, like, you have not kind of like that gift, of able to see things or and hear things?
I don't know if I would ever call it a gift.
That's true.
Because sometimes it's just really frightening. Like I can just walk into a room and I can just feel frightened, and I know why. But other people have like no understanding whatsoever, so I come across as a crazy person, right? Or it's something that I don't always see things, I feel them. So
Hmm.
it's not like it's not like it was when I was a kid. Like when I was a kid, I saw things.
Yeah.
I saw that. That happened. I saw things in my room move. I remember hiding under my stuffed animals, and I remember they're being moved off of me.
Yeah.
I feel that. I feel the pressure on my arm.
Is it
from being
because
out.
you think as a child you were uh
I think I was around it, so
like
confronted by
you
it that I
know?
could feel that kind of energy. I feel like I could feel that kind of just energy in the room, or like when that energy is being taken out of a room because something's manifesting with it. I think that that's probably the closest thing to what I feel.
Mhm.
I think that's probably the closest way to describe it, is
Yeah,
just being sensitive to that
the
that
energies.
that energy of the room, that sap. I can feel that sap, that void, because I feel like it takes a lot of that to affect things, and I'm able to kind of just, I don't know, sixth
Yeah,
sense, that kind of thing. But it does come across. I get nervous. I look nervous. Sometimes I start to talk a little funny because I get a little nervous,
yeah.
and I get I it's just hard to explain, Lucy. I don't
But
really know how to explain it.
I understand because I'm like I feel like I'm like that with with the energies and stuff like that.
Mhm,
When I was doing this last year, uh,
mhm,
we were living in a condo, and I mean, I felt fine, like when we moved in. But then, as soon as I started talking about things like that, uh, the vibe and the energy, everything completely changed, and I felt like I needed to stop because I'm a scary cat already. I love this stuff, but I'm already like I'm a scary. I get scared,
mhm.
and uh,
There's two of us.
yeah, and because I believe in this stuff, maybe that's why I know for me it's real, and um, so I need to like help myself to to kind of try to disconnect from that, but it's hard to do it, especially like I said, the vibes and stuff like that, the energy, and when there's been places like when I was still living with my mom, we were moved into a house, and before I knew anything like about the house, and I know it's old, like where I live. I mean, uh, here almost every house is really old, most of them, and the ones that are renting or whatever. And when we moved into this, it was a duplex, and when we moved in, I don't know, something about the place was, it used to give me the creeps. I used to scare me, and I was nervous about that place. And my husband at the time, I was dating him, and I told him, I'm like, you need to stay here with me. Can you stay here with me? I'm scared. I'm scared of this place. I don't know. There's something here. I'm scared. So he started spending the night, and I'm not kidding. In the middle of the night, I'll wake him up so he can walk me to the bathroom that it was across from my room, because I was scared. I don't know. I didn't know, nothing happened to me there, but I was just scared. I don't. There was something there. Then later on, my mom told me that um, first, when my uncle stayed, that he heard in that bathroom that I was scared to go, that the light turned on and the water faucet will turn on. But like a good true Mexican, when they were moving, he was helping us move. He had a couple beers, and he's the one who spent the night there by himself. So he didn't know if it was because he had drank or it really happened, right? But then,
I waited to tell you that until after you moved in, right? Kind of one of those things like,
well,
by
he
the
told my
way,
mom.
shit's
Yeah.
haunted.
That jerk. But no, but then my mom didn't tell me because she knows I will get scared, be like, oh hell no, I don't want to be here. And so that happened to him, right? Then later on, it started happening to my little sister. My little sister at the time, she was 4 or 5, maybe. She was little. So it happened in that bathroom, the same. She was passing by, and then the light turned on and the water turned on. So um, that, and then in the middle of the night, one day, the ceilings on that place, it was really really high. Like, and those the lights that they have, that it's the light bulb, and it has like another uh glass thing
Yeah,
around
yeah.
it.
Like
Well,
the
that
little
one, it
globe
has to
thing.
be screwed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has to be screwed in. Well, that one, it just fell. It just fell, like it got, and it's been like a few months that we've been there. So if it was not installed correctly, I believe it would have fallen like long time ago, and not like months later. And we were like, what the heck? Okay, that's weird. And little things were happening in the kitchen, like there was noises, but then I would think, oh, probably it's my mom. And then my mom would be like, no, that was not me. I'm like, oh. So
Mhm.
that place always gave me that weird vibe. And then later on, I moved out and I moved in with now my husband. I moved in with him, and because that place, it will scare me.
Time to
And
go.
yeah, then later on, my mom, she did moved out because the same thing that it happened to you as a kid. It was happening to my little brother. He was seeing things in the shadows. It was like freaking him out, and they were messing with the kids more. So my mom was like, "Oh no, we can't stay here." So she moved out. My mom's usually wherever she lives, it's always haunted. it's all I feel it's always following her. I believe it's following her. I feel like it's not it's usually like not harmless. It's not nothing too crazy, but this place was, we felt like. And then on the roof, we used to hear a bunch of like if people were walking and there was nobody up there, a lot of times we would just say, oh, it's probably a cat, but cats don't step away like
No, no, they're
that.
quiet.
Yeah. So yeah, and then my mom, she had to move from there, but like what you tell when you're telling me, it just remember my little brother that happened to him. So I everything you're telling me, it's like I know it. I know it. I feel you. You're not
It's a
alone, Phil.
because it's a very weird and lonely feeling sometimes, when you and as a kid too. I mean, you can't talk about that because other people don't feel that, they don't see that, and then you're just more of a weirdo and an outsider. So it's just kind of one of those things you just bottle up until you're an adult and you have enough self-confidence to begin to discuss it again.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
but after that entire thing happened out in the cornfield, I became a little bit more open about my discussions and
Mhm.
in relationships and things of that nature as well, because I at least felt there was enough of a shared experience to be able to discuss it
Yeah.
with somebody in my life. But
Yeah.
yeah, crazy times, crazy
Yeah.
times.
So, okay, so well now you told me too. So which one was probably obviously the scariest one was
When I was younger,
as a
yeah.
child, like that would be your scariest experience. Um, is it anything recent it happened, like mostly recent, or you try to block it off now?
Um, when so my daughter had cancer for a number of years and went through a lot of chemotherapy, and it was really hard on her mother and I. And the house we were living in was pretty old, and it was hard to tell sometimes if I could just hear things or if it was just the house being a piece of crap old house, it was drafty and things of that nature. But um, I do I do remember I do remember hearing at night whispers, and it would just be like, that kind of whisper.
Mhm.
And I remember it coming from my daughter's room, and I went in and I felt cold. But like I said, it was a crappy old house. Breaking my one adult rule, and I remember her mobile just turned on, um, and I at that point was kind of like, nope, time to move, time to get out of here. I don't want my daughter going through this. She's got enough going on in her
Yeah.
life, and hardship, that what I remember doesn't need
Mhm.
to be on any kid of mine. And I remember that's probably the closest thing that's happened to me in my adult life,
Mhm.
besides just like weird feelings at hotels. But I remember that's been something that I was just like, nope, not here. that's already that's the whole new house rule from that point,
Yeah.
especially on that was because I mean I kind of felt like I blocked that out when we moved to out of that house I lived at as a child. It was
Yeah.
my dad was a contractor, got a great deal on a brand new house he got to help build.
Oh,
And
that's.
I didn't have to worry about that feeling anymore because I didn't feel like anything came with us. It was light. The world was right. Um, and then we would go places because we're British. We go back to the UK and to old places, and occasionally I get a feeling here or there, but it wasn't enough to be like it was once I started getting older and ran into actual experiences that began to kind of make me remember some of those things. And I remember bringing it up at a dinner table, talking about the things that happened to me. And my dad, my mom was just like, I didn't know you remembered those things. She goes,
Yeah.
she goes, it scares the hell out of me that you remember those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, 'cause you were
yeah,
so young.
yeah. But that was the most, and that was the most recent was with my daughter. But we haven't
Yeah.
had that. She's 14 now.
Yeah.
So it's been a decade.
Oh,
Um,
that's crazy.
yeah.
Wow. That's so, I mean, now, like, is there, I don't think you will want to, but is there a place that you would like to visit that it's like,
You
abandoned,
know,
or like, do you know that it's something?
if I were to like do like a ghost hunt kind of thing, I don't get me wrong, I do find this entire medium intriguing, right? I
Mhm,
just don't, from a danger standpoint of what it is that you can bring home with you that I've heard about. I've never experienced
mhm,
that. But I've heard about. Um, that I've never wanted to put my family through those kinds of things, right? So I've always kind of like, despite my personal experiences, steered clear of those groups as far as things go, despite sharing my
yeah,
conversations and invites. But I have been to places like the St. Augustine Lighthouse. I have been to I'm British. I've been to the Tower of London.
yeah,
But I do think if there was any place that's considered to be haunted that I would find interesting
yeah,
would be the catacombs in
mm,
Paris. I guess
mm,
the tombs just where it's just all the skulls and the all
yeah,
underground. That would be kind of like Indiana Jones and the Temple of and the Last Crusade kind of scene thing. I think
yeah,
that would just be cool.
yeah,
And I think that it would be an interesting time to kind of interact with. But that and maybe Edinburgh Castle, I've heard a lot about that, and I've never been there. Um, but as far as things here in the States, uh, I kind of like all the places I hear about kind of strike me more as almost like demonic. And that's what kind of bothers me. And that's kind of
better
what I would want to
than
avoid
this.
personally
Mhm.
from my own background.
Yeah, you don't want to open up those.
Well, I hear like the Rolling Hills State Penitentiary. I hear about, Lizzie Borden House and the Winchester House and all these other different things. And it's not just it's maybe the only one I've not heard about is the Queen Elizabeth. I think it is.
Mm,
But it's like being like ghosts, not necessarily demonic. But
yeah,
everything else I hear is kind of like it sounds demonic and that kind of I just and it's not that I don't think it's a problem. It's just that I don't want to mess with that.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
it follows kind of thing, where I'm like, nope.
One thing, I love castles. I don't know, for a while I was so into that, and I was like trying to find the difference between a castle and a manor and stuff like that, and
Mhm.
like which castles that you still able they're up and running and you're able to visit and stuff like that, and um so, I mean, it's always like Germany, mostly like the castles out there, that the ones that I would like to visit. Uh, but I never like, thought, well, maybe actually, the one, the Dracula, what's the name of it?
Oh, the one that like
And
Dracula's castle kind of thing, Transylvania. But
yes,
it's
yes, yeah, that one. But I seen videos of those of
the
that.
place that's based on. Yeah,
Yeah, like how creepy it is, and they do have those bad vibes and stuff like that because of what it happened there, and how they used to torture people and things like that. So uh,
sure.
I, that's one thing that my son, he's whispering. um, but you know how, like, I don't know, like you said, I would love to visit places like that that I know they're like kind of haunted and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But then at the same time, I do get afraid of those things that they can kind of like hang on to you.
Yeah.
And one thing that I always heard is like depends how um, weak. But I can't remember like how weak you are. It can hang on to you. But if you are a little bit stronger, like in things like
Mhm.
that, not physically, but like mentally and everything, like they will be you're better.
Right.
Uh, but I don't know how strong I am. What happens if I'm like one of the weak ones?
Well, that's the thing too. I wonder, like, is being sensitive to that, is that a weakness, or is that just because you actually have that feeling and it knows that then there's something it can interact with, and you're just kind of like, oh,
Yeah.
well, I can interact with him, so I'm going to follow him, and that's the kind of thing that that concerns me. Why I've steered clear. So yeah, I totally get it. But I mean, like to tour though, and just be like, tourist and learn stories and hear about stuff, but with daylight and tons of other people around.
You're good.
100K, I'm in. I'm in.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, but everybody get your night vision goggles and get your warm
Oh,
clothes on. 'Cause we're gonna spend the night and we're gonna be in the dark, dude.
good. Yeah, no. Yeah, that one thing is like, whenever we buy a house, that's like you said, the rule, like, and about being newer, um, but then I mean, I don't know, like the history, even though if you look up, how they have to tell you if when you buy a house, if there's something going on, they have to tell you, but I
Or
don't,
do they? Because I remember, like, I
huh?
remember I remember asking different people when I was, like, looking, 'cause to get to when I first moved where I did, because we were moving from a different state, we were looking at rentals and things of that nature 'cause we didn't know how long we would stay, things of that nature. But I mean, some realtors can only tell you certain kinds of information, like, "Oh, you'll have to research that yourself if you wanna know. You have to, like, look it up online," and I don't know.
Yeah,
It's too much
yeah.
work.
Yeah, when we moved into the condo, when we were renting the condo, I asked them the first thing. I'm like, "Does anything like that happens here?"
Anything
And then the girl's like,
weird?
she's like, "No." The owner, she lived there. She's like, "Well, we lived here for a long time. We've been here, and nothing has happened to us." Like, and yeah, truly, nothing, happened there. But like I said, when I started doing like my stories and stuff like that, I started. I don't know if it was I was only like freaking myself out, or if it was
Mhm.
like me bringing those energies and stuff like that. Um, but I felt like I had to stop, till I was kind of like, I'm like, I need to bring myself back to not feeling that way. Um,
Absolutely.
and right now, like I've been trying not to feel like that, and I've been good.
Mhm.
Uh, but then just the other day, I was on my house. Yes, the day before yesterday, I had a horrible nightmare, and I've been scared after that. Like right, I've been kind of like scared. I'm like, and I was last night I wasn't able to sleep because I was scared. Just the way the nightmare felt, like it felt so real. It felt like I can see myself and everything. Like if I was awake, but I know it was a nightmare. I know it was dreaming,
Mhm.
and that is kind of freaking me out. Um, uh, just like all day and everything. I've just kind of been like,
I still wake up every few weeks, like it, and it's like clockwork. It's like about 3:12, between 3:12 and 3:15. I wake up and I'm just in a sweat panic, you know, and I don't remember a dream. I don't remember any story. I just feel scared,
yeah,
and I think that it's almost like a PTSD. I don't know,
maybe.
um,
Yeah,
but I just know, and it's a sucky feeling. But I don't feel like there's anything around me. I don't, but I still feel like I'm just
yeah.
paralyzed, scared.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think how you were saying like about being afraid like of the dark and everything. That's one thing. I'm so scared of the dark. Being by myself in the dark, like I just can't. And it was because a lot of the times, and more that I think about it, I remember more like when I talked on my first episode, I was talking about how me and my cousin got locked in a bathroom in Mexico. All this stuff that it happened was mostly in Mexico. We got locked in the bathroom. It was dark. We couldn't get out. They couldn't get us out. And then later on, I remember, I'm like, oh my God, it happened another time. And I was with my other cousins, different house. And at the same thing, it had, on that house, I know their house was haunted for sure, because different stuff happened. One in the rooms too, like me and my other two cousins, we got locked. We couldn't. All the lights were out, and we couldn't get out. It was locked. It was not locked. That house in the room, it wasn't locked. It was just like stuck or something like that. We couldn't get out. We were stuck, and again, it was dark. And then the way their house was, it was kind of like the way the houses out there. A lot of the times, they're kind of open. In the middle it's open, and then just around it is like rooms. And there was one of them, it was all together where they were the rooms, and then another side of the house was like the TV room, the game room type of thing, and it had the TV, and that's where we would watch movies. And again, I will never forget, we were watching Michael Jackson, the movie, the little short movie.
Thriller, the Thriller one?
No. There's another one with the little boys when he does Smooth Criminal and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I remember watching that one, and we were there, and we were all sitting. And first, it started that one of my, I think she was my aunt, I think she's my aunt. My mom, it's my mom's cousin. The remote was on her lap, and then later on, she was trying to change it, and the remote was not on her lap anymore. It was like by the TV. And it's like, how? Like, we would have able to see that. Like, how did that happen? And then later on, when we tried to get out of the room, we couldn't get out of the room. And again, it wasn't locked. It was just like, I don't know. The door
just wouldn't open.
Yeah, we couldn't. And then we were like yelling. And again, that room, the door was, if the windows were closed, it's pretty dark in there. And after that, I'm like, man, maybe that's where my whole being afraid of, like, of the dark bow or something. Like, I get scared, and I don't like to be by myself in the dark, and I freak out as soon as the lights, my husband knows, as soon as like the lights are off or something, I freak out. I'm like, where's the light? I need to turn on the light. I panic a little bit. I need to have at least like some kind of like, and in a room now, like for a long time, we always look with a little night light or something. Mm-hmm. But now, like with the light of the moon, for some reason, I feel safe. Like it's better. Like it's not so dark, and I'm okay. Or if I'm too scared at night, I just leave like sometimes my phone on or something, like the light, you know. Mm-hmm. But being in the dark, it's especially like you see right now on this on this side, it kind of freaks me out a little. So I try to cover it so I don't have to.
I've got these big lights on the side. I mean, as you can see the rings and the reflection over there. Yeah. The figure where I'm on the screen. Those because of the other things I do with this. But yeah, I feel you 100%.
Yeah, I don't. That's one thing that I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I need the light on.
I just don't want to die. So actually, it's not the death thing that scares me. It's just that the fact that it's something I can't protect myself from. You know, you just feel
that kind of thing. Yeah. Like, how do you defend yourself from something that I guess is not really there? Kind of
really
thing?
Right? You know, I don't. Yeah.
So, okay. So now I'm gonna ask for a movie or book that you recommend.
So like movies are the worst for me because unfortunately, and I don't know, so I'm 41. So anybody that's maybe watching this that's of that age might remember back in the 90s, there was this thing on a cable channel called TNT, and it was called Monster Vision. And it was every Saturday night they would play the worst, like the clichéest horror movies, like from Dracula versus Billy the Kid, or there's the most ridiculous kinds of things. And I remember I was probably 12 or 13, and I was a nerd. I mean, like I said, I was a band nerd, and I was in drama, so I was a drama geek and a band nerd. It's like the just like the kiss of death as a teenager, right? So, I mean, I wasn't doing anything on a Saturday night, and I would watch these horror movies, and I used to keep a notebook, and I would like write down every single weird way you could kill a vampire and or a werewolf or the creature from the Black Lagoon. And so I've seen a lot of horror movies. And I'm a big fan of the old ones. I'm a big fan of like Boris Karloff and Bela Lugosi, and Vincent Price was a god, and these old kinds of cliche movies. But as far as like movies that freaked me out, I would say probably, I think the things that scared me the most were probably more modern, realistic, because at least when I can watch the other ones, I can be like, that's not real. Their face, that's a hair dryer and wax, like the melting body face, it's like the Evil Dead and whatnot. But I think to me, the scariest was, I would put it in a tie between The Ring, and a little and kind of like a Poltergeist, The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Because that was something. It wasn't like someone, it was something. And and The Ring was just because, well, it was when I was a older teenager, and it was a date movie, and I was just messed up. And that was when the Japanese horror finally made it to the United States, and seeing somebody like coming out of a TV walking backwards and head, nope. that was like, what is this? Like, I've seen my fair share of movies. That was crazy.
For me, was that the one that it messed me up. And before, I used to watch I watch all those scary movies, The Exorcist, all of them. And most of them I watch them in Spanish. But the one that I remember, my mom took us, and I was in 8th grade, I think, kind of like around the time that it came out. And my mom took us to watch, it was the Dollar Theater. We went to watch The Ring. It came out almost around the same time, and 13 Ghosts. 13 Ghosts messed me up. That one, I remember.
Like that one that just always shook the entire time, because that was the first time I see like things was like the ghost would get close to you.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, no, that one. I remember I will have I think I've talked about it. Like, I will have my brother wait outside the bathroom so I can take a shower, because I was so scared that naked lady was gonna come out.
I used to send my little sister upstairs to turn on the light before I would go upstairs.
Oh.
I would send my little sister.
Well, yeah, the same with my brother.
Older brother was such a wuss.
No, well, you have your reasons.
Yeah, I do. I think
you have your reasons. So no, it's totally no. But yeah, those two, I remember that one. And what else came out around that time? It was that one, and oh my gosh, I totally forgot the name. With Bruce Willis.
Sixth Sense.
Yes. Yeah, The Sixth Sense. That one, I loved it. I loved the story and everything, but those little things that they pop out out of nowhere, it's like they get you, I love the story, and I love, like, it's such like I said, I just love the story, but the things, that one and The Others. I love The Others.
See, I didn't, I think at the end it was because it came out after The Sixth Sense, right?
Yeah.
I felt like then at that point every horror movie needed a big twist. And like,
yeah.
They're the ghosts, right? Like, and that's how I was kind of like, you had me until, but they're the ghosts. I'm like, oh,
yeah.
Well, okay.
I like that because I speak maybe because I think I'm like, maybe a lot of them, and it makes you think maybe a lot of them they're like that. They don't know that they are the ghosts. They don't know that.
I
What
think
happens if we're the ghost to them,
true. I don't think any ghost really knows they're a ghost.
Yeah,
That's probably why they're like the apparitions, the replay kinds of things. But
yeah.
I do think that one of the scariest things I have seen in recent memory, though, was The Haunting on Hill House on Netflix. That series, that, and it was just a good story because, like,
Yeah.
by the end of it and the way it all came together, you were like, I'm glad I participated in this. It
You know what?
scared the out
I
of me.
haven't finished. I didn't watch the last episode. I didn't watch the
Oh,
last episode, which I know I need to finish it because the sequel or something like that came out.
it's a
But
whole other independent. It's just by the same people. So
okay.
totally, it's kind of like American Horror Story, right?
Mhm.
Where it's just like it's totally independent. It even says on this one, it's not even a season. It's just that series. They're all mini series, all
Okay.
totally separate, have nothing in common with each other. That
Okay.
is what I'm told of. The I think this is like The Haunting of Blythe Manor or something like that.
So, yeah.
Um, Yeah, because there's a guy from iZombie on it that I really, really freaking adore as far as like actors go,
Yeah.
and but yeah, he's in it as well. So I'm really super pumped. But no,
Yeah.
I haven't seen it yet, strictly because I'm trying to like my daughter's now over 13, and I can start to watch scarier movies. We like watched It last night, and so I'm trying to find some cool stuff like that to start getting her into with it.
So there a book, a comic book? I mean, it doesn't have to be like super scary. It's just like a good story.
A good story that I am starting to get into. I'm really finding that obviously there's the old cliche horror kinds of comics, so like the Tales from the Crypt, things of that nature.
Yeah.
But I'm really finding the new the new books that are coming out right now from some of the independents.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and 'cause I knew we were going to talk a little bit about it.
Mm-hmm.
I think Autumnal.
Oh yes, I picked one
Autumnal
up, but I
is
didn't read it yet.
so. This is a great story, and so far I'm really super digging it. I need to read the second one, but because to me there's two different kinds of horror. There's horror suspense.
Yeah.
Horror suspense.
Yeah.
There's horror, gore, shock, and awe.
Oh, I was just gonna tell you about that one. I have that one too. I was gonna tell you about that one.
Did you read this one?
Yes, I did. I
This
loved
is
it.
so messed up. like
Yes.
like I remember thinking like the Walking Dead opener was kind of like dark in its own ways, but
Mm-hmm.
Stillwater, I don't think anything, because to me there's like different levels, but like
Yeah.
Autumnal, I feel suspense, intrigue, story. Stillwater, I do feel story, but I feel like, oh my god, like
Yeah,
just
that one I was just like, what the heck was this? Oh my god, this is
like
it's so cool. I love it. Yeah, no, I have it. I have it
worst
right
life ever. This guy, whatever it is, yeah,
Yeah.
worst life ever. He just like you. I mean, you want to talk about downhill fast?
Yeah. And
This
you know
guy-
what? This one, from our group chat, Jay
Yeah.
Comics, he sent me one of the books, because I'm sold out, and he sent me one. So Jay Comics,
Nice.
and but the one that I want to recommend, and I don't know if you've read it, it's this one right here.
What is that?
Juke Joint.
Oh, okay. Juke
This
joint?
one, it's by Image, and it was canceled. They were only released 2 issues on this one because it's crazy. It's Voodoo. She's the main lady. She does voodoo and stuff like that. But then she has a bar. She owns a bar, and she says that like basically you respect, if you want to get be treated well, you need to respect everybody else too.
Yeah.
But if you go too far, if you disrespect somebody, or if you do go too far, you're not going to live basically. And there's a lady who goes to her because her husband is abusive, and
Mhm.
the lady goes to her to help her. She's like, I need help because my husband is beating me and abusing me and all that stuff. So she's like, are you sure you want to go through this, because you're not gonna like what's gonna happen? And it's pretty gory, and I loved it. I know every whoever read that one loved that book, but I believe that I think Image Comics man at the time like didn't like what she was coming up with, because it was mostly like defending, I guess, women towards abusers and stuff like that, and it was like
Oh.
more hurting men. So um, I don't know if that's why they canceled it. I don't know what happened, but they canceled that one. And it's only 2 issues,
Yeah,
but
that's
it
a
was
good issue.
crazy, and I loved it. It's one of my favorite one of my favorite ones.
I wrote
Uh,
it down. Check it out.
yes, I joined Juke Join,
Should
and
join.
the movie that I want to recommend is Rigor Mortis. It's a can't oh my god, I can't remember if it was Korean or Japanese. I'm horrible. Give me a second. But
Never mind.
I watched that one with my husband, and it's like a um I see here's good to show like if we could have had
A
uh,
video.
a video of it.
Mhm.
Yes, because it has action and like the fight scenes, the fight with the demons, and um let me see. And I think it's um on Amazon. I think it's on Amazon.
I'll check it out. Have
Um,
you seen It Follows?
but no,
So speaking
see,
of demons that follow.
that's kind of like
Oh yeah.
I
Okay.
love, and it's yeah,
So
Rigor
this is
Mortis.
essentially a sexually transmitted
Which one?
demon. It follows.
It
It
follows.
separate word follows. And basically if this thing stalks you and it will
Mhm.
kill you unless you give it to another person
Huh.
via having relations with this person. And it is freaking ridiculously scary mess. Like I don't know why I didn't say that was probably one of the most scary things I've seen recently, because it was just such a different idea, a
Huh.
totally different take
Huh.
on. And it follows very, very creepy, messed up. Highly recommend of recent new releases. So I will check out Rigor Mortis. You check out It
Yeah.
Follows.
Let me see. I want to say. Oh my god. I
It
want
would.
to make. I think it's a Chinese movie. Um. Yeah. I think it is. I'm getting it completely wrong, but yeah, I think it's a Chinese.
Well, I'll check it out either way. Yeah,
But yeah,
my
that
brother's
one
a big
is.
anime fan, so we're not strangers to either A, dubbing, or B, subtitles. So we're all good.
Yeah, I remember when I watched that one, I really liked it because it's like you're fighting with the demons and stuff like that. And there's this on the if you watch the trailer, there's this
Mhm,
lady who's trying, her husband dies, and she's trying to bring him back to life and using all kinds of crazy stuff.
mhm.
And I mean, obviously, it's not gonna come back like oh my goodness, like practical magic, when they bring
Yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
It's like it's
yeah.
not gonna be the
Yep.
same. So it was basically like that. It's such a crazy movie. It's really good too. So that's one that I recommend. I'll post it on my Instagram to the movie. I have posted before, but I'll post the movie, and then my son is singing. Sorry,
It's fine.
he's like whispering, but like it sounds creepy on my headphones because he's singing.
Well, and also too, for any of your followers and whatnot, whatever kind of competition you want to do for it, let me know. But I have extra copies of Stillwater and Autumnal, a set of Autumnal, and this is no, not that one. Sorry,
Yeah.
the whole different variant set. So let me know if what kind of little competition you might want to do or giveaway for any of
Oh,
your fans that
yes,
watch your
I
show.
want to do a
But
giveaway actually.
yeah, Stillwater is one, and Autumnal would be the other, and it would be the whole set. So they would get both books. That would
Oh,
be the ones that I'm interested in. And the cool one about Autumnal is all three of the different variant covers that come.
wow. I
So
know
you
Jay, he missed out that one, so he will love to enter that one. Yeah, I
yeah,
know. Kind of look
yeah,
one for him. But yes, I will we'll fix something and then we'll do a giveaway. So
yeah.
somebody who
Just,
missed
just
out on that one because it's sold out, right? Both of them sold out.
yes, and Autumnal, and they're both super hot right now too.
So,
So you can always read it and have a nice little investment. So
yeah,
Vault
yeah.
Comics for one, and I think
You know, they will make it with all those movies and shows. I'm sure they will make something out of one of those.
everything's getting developed nowadays. So I wouldn't doubt it, not at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Oh my God. Well, thank you so much, Phil. Thank you for coming
Have it.
and sharing your story with us. It was truly amazing. Yeah, I mean, the three that you, Ruben, and my sister-in-law Erica have like some amazing stories, and I'm so happy that you guys are able to share. And especially, I feel like it's a little bit more hard. I felt like it was a little bit more tough, but I'm very thankful that you came and were able to share with us.
I am happy to be here. Anytime you want, I'm happy to hang out. Great conversation. Can't go wrong.
Thank you so much. And well, guys, thank you for joining us. And I will have another one next Saturday, same time, 7 p.m. Pacific time. And if you have any stories you want to share with us, just message me. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.